Ladies and gentlemen, this RedGamerTech.com video, we have some news on PlayStation 4 and the status of DRM. Now obviously the Xbox One has been in the news a lot recently, not just for its perhaps refusal to play used games and that whole fiasco, but also about visual DRM and potential monitoring of yourself being in the living room and compared to your license and so forth. However, Jeff Keighley, who has worked for Game Trailers, has recently made a few statements regarding this. He says Microsoft is getting beaten up a lot on it. Sony, I think, has been as kind of seen as kind of the white knight so far as they're not going to restrict use games. Based on some of the things I'm hearing, I don't think that's entirely true, because I can't see publishers allowing one system to do one thing and one to do another. So, recently, Twitter hashtag and so forth has begun to circumvent such as PS4 no DRM and PS4 used games, and these Twitter hashtags have been targeting messages at the high profile Sony employees because, well, they're concerned about the stance. Is this a possibility? Now, Sony have previously mentioned that there are no plans to block used games on the PS4. However, regardless, well, there are the worries that maybe DRM will exist in some way or another. So, what have Sony been saying? Well, a few. Various comments have been circulating right now. One of them is, "This is why I love PlayStation fans. The passion bucket overflows." And this was said by Sony's head of hardware marketing, John Kuller. Nick Accordino, I'm hoping I've pronounced that correctly, who is SCEA producer, has said, and I quote, "Humbled by the outpouring of passionate PlayStation fans and their willingness to talk to us directly, please know that we hear you." There has been someone else who have stated from Sony's Worldwide Studios product boss, Scott Rode. He added that, "I love passionate hashtag PlayStation fans." On NeoGAF, there's an open letter to Sony, and this was being created by one user in particular, explaining, and I quote, "You might be wondering what the above hashtags really mean. Simply put, they are requesting you keep things on the PS4 as they are on the PS3 when it comes to physical disc rights and second-hand discs. Microsoft has ignited a firestorm in announcing a strategy for Xbox One that would see consumers unable to lend discs to friends, unable to privately sell or swap a disc, and only able to trade discs at pre-approved retail stores. We believe this is a big mistake, and we'd like you not to share in it." End quote. So, Sony right now have been fairly quiet on a couple of things. One is digital content, for example, streaming of movies and TV shows and so forth. The second is region locking. They've not stated anything on that either. Now, the problem, of course, with this is it's not necessarily down to Sony in all cases, because, as I said yesterday's video about Microsoft and region locking, let's say that you are living in a country where a certain game is banned or a certain product is banned. They may want you to region lock it simply because of that. Similarly, certain TV shows are, say, exclusive in one region. However, in regards to the games, it's a lot easier to discern. You know, regardless of region, if your friend has a PS3 that's, say, Europe, and I have a PS3 that's Europe, we can play, okay? And let's say the PS4 as well, just to make things simple. But, of course, the problem right now is Microsoft are really sounding uncertain exactly what they want the Xbox One to do. They keep saying they have the plans, but they're not telling us what those plans are, which is making people nervous. I think the problem is people just want to know what the stance is. Now, the Xbox One is doing really well in the pre-orders, which is actually somewhat surprising to me. I actually thought people were going to be a lot more apprehensive about the about the used games situation, but who knows? In my opinion, Sony will really want to capitalize on this. Problem is, is it that easy? As they've said, it's not just a case of, well, these guys aren't doing it, so you're cool to do it however you want, though. It's not that simple. Just because one console manufacturer said they would rather not do it, it's going to be really difficult. Now, EA have obviously abolished the used game thing in terms of the online pass, but it wants to make money somewhere or another. Because as I keep saying to you guys, the problem with used games is that they don't give the developers or publishers more money. And I know what you're going to say, well, okay, but I only want to lend my friend X. Problem is, let's say you buy Infamous 4, or let's say you buy Infamous Second Son, just for example, and you complete Infamous Second Son, and you say, okay, my friend Tom wants to borrow this game. So you lend Tom Infamous Second Son, and you say, you just borrow that as long as you want. I'm cool, I've played it once, I'm busy playing this game. Tom completes Infamous Second Son, and he doesn't buy Infamous Second Son. Why? Because he's already completed it. He may buy it if it goes really cheap and he sees it, on sale for like, £10 or £15 or whatever dollars. But, it's not his priority to buy it. On the other hand, if you just lend it him for, say, 24 hours or, a couple of hours, take it around his house, that's a different thing. If you take it around Tom's house and you both get a couple of missions in and then you say, sorry, Tom, I've got to go, I'm going to play Infamous now, he might buy it. I've done that a couple of times with friends who've bought round games. I'm sure you've done it as well. You're like, damn, I can't believe he's taking that game home. I really want to play this sucker. Oh, well, I'll have to buy it. On the other hand, if he's actually lending you the thing for as long as you need to complete it, especially when it's a completable game, it's a lot less of a big deal. And this is one of the reasons that a lot of online games are becoming so big now, because developers know that the second that game goes home with you, that person, it's not a storyline. They if they want to continue to play Gears of War Online or Battlefield or whatever you want to play, they're going to need a copy of that game, on consoles especially. So, is it a legitimate concern? Well, I don't know. I mean, Sony have said that there are no plans to do it. But just how lenient they're going to be, just how open it's going to be, it's unknown. I'm going to give Sony the benefit of the doubt. They've said one thing. They've not lied about anything so far. And for the most part, Sony are being fairly open with the PS4. So I guess the best way for us to look at this is just watch the skies. I know that's a bit of a cliche. Unfortunately, it's not just down to Sony. They are obviously going to be under certain amounts of pressure from developers and publishers alike, because, as I said, you may not want to do harm to developers or publishers, but the way they see it, whether you've pirated that game or not, if you're borrowing that game, it's still the same thing for them. In other words, they're still not getting money. And you may say to yourself, well, I'm only borrowing it. Well, it's still pretty much the same thing. I really do want that money. It's that simple. And to their defense, looking at it from the other side, let's say that you were the one who put, hundreds of hours of your life into this game. You would want someone to pay you for it. It's like, if you're a photographer or even if you're a builder, you're not going to want every second person's house you build to do it for free, are you? You're not going to be like, okay, well, I've built, 15 houses this month, so I'm going to build you these 2 for free. No, you'd want to get bloody paid for those houses you've just built. And, of course, yes, you can argue that the software houses are making a hell of a lot of money. Yes, EA are making a lot of money, but they're also losing a lot of money. Why? Because games now are becoming increasingly expensive to produce. As I've used the example many times over, you do not get a voice actor like Martin Sheen, you do not get Tricia Helfer and these other people who have, of course, voiced some games like Mass Effect. You do not get Seth Green for free. They have to be paid, and in some cases, a lot of money. And it's not just that. Cutscenes, the artwork, all of the stuff costs a hell of a lot for them to produce. And so when they produce games, it's a big risk. And yeah, that's one of the reasons I imagine that the online mode was actually added into Mass Effect 3 to give people incentive to buy Mass Effect 3. Anyway, I think that just about does it for this particular video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I will see you soon. Take care and bye for now.